This is where I have my grow lights set up in my house. This is my stairwell, and there was a nice shelf here where I could hang some shop lights. As far as lights go, you can use pretty much any kind of fluorescent bulb. There are special ones that you can buy that are for growing plants, but they tend to be a little more expensive. You can also just get your regular white bulbs or blue color balance bulbs. I have 3 shop lights set up. They each will hold 2 bulbs so that I can put quite a few plants under here. Here are the seeds that I started earlier that needed light to germinate but were tiny, and so they were planted just on the surface. They've been covered with plastic to keep the moisture in, and they have sprouted. Got some little plants. It looks like every seed I planted came up. Here's a close-up of those tiny little flower seeds that I started. And if you remember, I put 3 seeds in some of the cells. And here's 3 that came up there and 3 that came up there. 2 came up in this one. You can also see how small they are and why you might need to start these 8 to 10 weeks ahead of when you want to plant them in the garden, because it's going to take them a while to become big plants, but they will. And this summer we'll have plants that are probably going to be 2 feet tall and have lots of flowers on them. Over here I have the parsley seed that needed to be in the dark. This windowsill is about 65 to 70 degrees, which was the temperature that was right for the parsley. And as you can see, they've been covered. And a few of them have started to come up. This is the parsley, and I'm glad that I checked it today because it germinated in about 12 days instead of 21. And as you can see, they're just starting to come up. Here's some pepper plants that are already up. They've been up for almost a week. They still have just their first leaves. This one here still hasn't been able to come free of its seed completely. And here are some tomato seedlings. They're starting to develop their what's called the true leaves. On most plants, the very first leaves that they get don't necessarily resemble the leaves on an adult plant. Here's a tomato plant that's ready to go into the ground, and it has started to have a few flowers develop on it. It's always tempting to leave those flowers, but what you should do before you plant it is pinch them off. Because when you first plant it, you're going to want all the energy to go into the roots, spreading out in the ground and making a strong plant. If it's trying to put its energy into making fruit, you may get a few early fruit, but then it's going to not fruit again for quite some time. So in the long run, you'll have a lot more fruit and a lot healthier plant if you pick the flowers off.